All right, Ambush, and today we are joined by a member of an award-winning folk pop group. They are festival favorites worldwide, and of course, they just released their latest single, their newest single in a few years, I believe, and it is entitled Stronger Than You Know. The group is the East Pointers, and of course, my guest today is Tim Chaisson. How's it going today, Tim?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How's it going, Colin?
Ooh, having myself a beautiful day. Even better now that, got to talk some amazing music, one of my favorite things. I'm ready to jump on in. How about yourself?
Yeah, ready for it, man. Yeah.
Hey, feet first. All right, I love it. So, of course, I need to kick it off with exactly where did this new single begin to take shape?
Yeah, well, so the three of us, Cody, Jake, and I, and Colin MacDonald, actually, who is the lead singer of the Trews for anyone who knows them. The three of us wrote with Colin many times over the years, and it was probably, I guess it was in February of 2021. I think that was when this writing session happened, and it was kind of recently after this like really big storm on PEI, and Cody. And I'm sure maybe some of your listeners probably know of Cody's passing in January, which is very sad. So sad. We can chat all about that and just how, anyways. But Cody lived in this beautiful little cottage that was on the eastern end of PEI, like on this like 80-foot cliff, and it overlooked the Northumberland Strait. And you could see like Nova Scotia and Cape Breton on a nice day, which was pretty cool. But in the winter, it gets pretty treacherous there. And it was his first winter in that house last year. And after this massive storm, he thought that this little cottage was going to like legitimately blow down. And he had to put like a 2x4 like plank over the door. He was like so concerned. And so the topic of the song kind of came from that, and like feeling like that, like metaphorically kind of feeling that isolation and digging deep for like the strength to get through whatever it is that you're going through. So the references to the house, like, and the strong winds and all that kind of refer to that. That's where the shape of the song came from, and then it grew from there.
So just taking an experience, quite the experience,
yeah,
that one of the band members went through, and relating it to because the rest of the world, because I mean, obviously, a lot of us have had to endure quite the storm, have had to adapt these past couple of years, right?
Yeah, totally. It's been like, we were so fortunate, all three of us were on PEI and able to get together and write. And yeah, it was a bit of a testament to like that, that isolation that we've all felt over the last few years and getting through. So
absolutely. So you mentioned that this song was written back in February of 2021. So when did you guys actually get inside of a studio to put it together then? Yeah,
so we worked with Derek Hoffman, who's a brilliant producer from Toronto. Actually, Colin recommended us to chat with Derek because he's brilliant for a guy. Like, we knew that we were going to be doing it virtually with someone at that point. And he works with like Arkells and the Trews and so many other great bands. But he was in Toronto. So we thought, like, let's try hooking something up. And it was probably until the summer. I think it was maybe the beginning of August of 2021 that we actually recorded this and another track with him in that session. And we weren't sure, like, doing, like, we've always done our records with, a producer in the room. We've never done it virtually before. So we weren't sure how it was going to go, but it was like, he was awesome. Like, just, we would send him over like what we were playing and kind of our ideas. And then he would like just kind of run with it and then send something back, and we'd hop on Zoom and chat it through. And yeah, it was an interesting way to do it. But it like surprisingly went really well. So we recorded it. Jake has a little basement studio at his house in Charlottetown. So we're just down there, and surprisingly, for any of your listeners or yourself who record music, it's whenever you're in an actual recording studio and paying from like 8 to 5 p.m., you're kind of like, you have this like urgency to get it right and finish it. And you're looking at your clock. And, but when you're doing it at home, it's this like so much more relaxed. And we all felt way more relaxed doing it in Jake's studio. So yeah, and then we did the rest of the songs like that. So
it's always interesting to hear the different opinions of like how that shift in recording was, right? Because for you, where you mentioned like normally you rent out a studio, you've maybe got a week, 2 weeks. You're like, okay, so we've got like 7 tracks, we've got to get these knocked out, right? But then there's also the standpoint of like trying to communicate with someone. So if the person you're working with can communicate well through a Zoom video, it probably makes some things easier. But sometimes like conveying an energy where you're like, okay, but I was thinking like maybe taking it up here as opposed to right here. And sometimes maybe that's a little easier to convey in person, right? It's like a balance.
Oh, totally, for sure. And I think I think it's called audio movers, where like he would be mixing and we could actually listen through our speakers at the same time. So that tool is super handy. So it kind of feels like you're in the same room together a bit. But there's also this like, which a lot of people probably discovered over the last 2 years, is like when there's no pressure to perform, like as far as like being in a studio and everyone like, okay, get this part, like that wasn't a part of it at all. Like our producer wasn't listening to us while we were recording, and we were all comfortable with each other. So it was like, if we messed up, it was just like, yeah, whatever, we just do it again. No big deal. So yeah, that was a nice element to the recording.
Exactly. Just go upstairs, grab a glass of water, say hi to the wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Come back down. Relax, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's fantastic. So with this new single came a little bit of a shift in sound, maybe a little bit more into the pop style than the folk style that the group is known for. So was this a conscious shift? Where did it come from?
Yeah, well, we always kind of dabbled with like in like pop elements. I think whenever we started the band, we were like, it was pretty traditional, but still had a contemporary feel, even though like, so we would always we would do like half instrumentals. We come from all like Celtic traditional folk background. So like as fiddle and banjo and guitar and piano. So with the progression of the band, like as we kind of grew and we're playing more festivals and all over the world, I guess it was like fun to incorporate more sounds into the music. And we played so much, like we toured like mental, but it was just like we had lots of time to experience different sounds. And then each time we went into the studio, we would be like, oh, do you think we can get away with doing this live? And then we would, figure out how to do it live just with the three of us. So we were all doing things, all of our limbs were occupied on stage basically. But when it came to this new album and EP that we were working on, we worked with Derek, and we were kind of specifically looking for someone who could, like, even though our last stuff had more pop elements, it was like his vibe was a little bit more kind of pop and polished, I guess you could say. But yeah, but still trying to keep like the acoustic instruments at the forefront and just kind of, experimenting with like what feels good. And yeah, so it wasn't necessarily super conscious to do it that way. It was just, I think, a mixture of the songwriting and the producer and the setting. And it just kind of felt good. Like it wasn't any time where we were like, oh, we shouldn't do this or that. It was just, it all felt good. So that's when, I guess it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely, for sure. And of course, we mentioned this is the first single you guys have released in a while. You did a remix of one of your tracks in 2020, but really this is the first true song since probably about 2019. And it just came out the end of May here. It's been out for a few days now. So what is it like to have this song out into the world for yourself?
Yeah, it feels really good. Like you say, it's like this bizarre, like usually we've had an album every 2 years and you release the singles from the album, you tour and all that. And whenever it came, like, I guess 2019, at the end of 2019, we released our last album, and then we had one single or two singles from it, or three maybe. And then we were touring, we were in Australia, and then like everything got shut down. And it was like, okay, so we're just home. and usually we'd be, on the road quite a bit. And we were lucky enough to do we did a couple of stretches in the UK at the end of 2021. But like it just feels good to have a new song for people to like, because it felt like our last single that, had quite a bit of life in it, and which was, really important. You know what? I might have a little guest here.
Oh, no worries.
Hi there, Fox. Oh, thank you, buddy. See you later. That's my son. Giving me a marshmallow.
Ooh, very important.
Yeah, very important.
Very important.
Little snack for the interview.
Exactly. Hey, taking care of you. Hey, raising them right.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it feels really good to have a song out and just, that fresh feeling of, so many great comments and feedback about the song that we're very, very grateful for.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And one thing that I really love about this song is earlier you mentioned, of course, the unfortunate passing of Cody. And one thing that I really love with this song is it definitely seems to be continuing to carry on his spirit, being influenced by an experience he went through. The artwork, if you guys go onto your social media, you get this lovely little story of just exactly this Polaroid and where it came from. So what is it like, once again, we mentioned to have the song out into the world, but to have this representation of someone who is such an important part of this journey, to have it and have it released and to represent him like this?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah. Like Code. Yeah. So Code passed away in January, which was like such a shock to everybody. And it still is. And it doesn't feel real most days, to be honest. And, Code's my first cousin, one of my best friends. And it, and playing in a band with him and touring the world has been the most incredible experience over the last like eight years of my life. And we played music together since we were kids. So it's, it doesn't feel right or even real, the fact that he's actually gone. But we're so grateful that we just for everything, I guess, and essentially having all these songs recorded and written. And to be honest, we weren't sure what we were going to do. Jake and I were just like, it was just, dark times. And then it was like, well, we have to get this music out there because Cody would not be happy because he was so proud of these songs that he wouldn't be happy if they just kind of sat dormant and no one heard them. So the plan was to, we had signed with Network, who are out your guys' way, actually, Vancouver based, I believe, company. And we signed with them back in 2021 and everything was feeling really good and ramping up for another album and touring and stuff. But then just feel like there's a huge void. There's no doubt about it. And those who knew Cody knew how much of an incredible, not only human, like funny, charismatic, and so kind, but he was an incredible musician. Like he's, as a tenor banjo, like a banjo player, he's like, everyone around the world has always looked up to him as a banjo player. Like he was, one of the best. So it's incredible that all the people that he touched in his short life, and having this song like just be as if like we didn't do anything to the song. It was just like it was already done months and months ago. So it was to have it and for people to hear Cody play, because he was, also like a bit of a riff like genius. I think Colin called him the Keith Richards of the banjo. He always had so many like amazing lines and riffs to write songs with. But for people to hear that in this song is I think pretty special for a lot of people, and for Jake and I just to have it out there. And it feels good. And I know that for like fans of the band and Code like appreciate hearing it, I guess. So it's been an interesting time for sure. And even just like promoting like a song as well, or like the band, everything's just so like kind of uncertain, I guess, the future. But like getting this music out is the number one goal.
Well, once again, giving the song probably another meaning, showing that you and Jake being stronger than you both probably knew, powering through, continuing to release this music, right?
Yeah, totally. And like you mentioned, that Polaroid is pretty funny. It's been on Cody's fridge for like forever. And every time I'd go to Cody's, I'd just have a big chuckle because we grew up right beside each other, but in between us there was a farm. And him like diving, it just looks like a massive snowbank that he's like jumping in onto the ground, like with no. And we would just always chuckle, like how like that was probably, oh my God, like 20, no, more than 20 years ago. We were really young. I remember, and our neighbor had a Polaroid camera, and it's like the odds of him catching that, like it's just, yeah, it was pretty cool. So, and whenever we saw it, yeah, and we were just like, that has to be the single there for the song. It just feels like the right thing. Yeah,
this definitely shows his spirit. That's quite the dive, quite the brave soul that needs to take that on. And
yeah, he was a total character for sure.
Hey, you mentioned an incredible musician and also an incredible human being, having raised over $10,000 for the Unison Fund, even like after passing.
Yeah.
That goes to show just what an impact he has as an individual, right?
Yeah, totally. He was very passionate about, like, he struggled with mental health issues for a long time, but he was so like, he proved to so many people what can be done with someone who has been at kind of, their rock bottom and have been told, like, you can't do this, you can't do that. But he proved everyone wrong, and he got better, and he, like, not to say without the challenges that come along with it, but he was so passionate about sharing that with people. And like you say, he just was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this cold, like he was really into cold water therapy, I guess you could say, like swims, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to do this, like, I want to raise money for the Unison Benevolent Fund, which is like a really great organization that, if an artist is, for whatever reason, can't go out on tour, then they can take care of them. Or if they, whatever the case may be. So he's like, I'm going to do a cold swim every day. And then, yeah, I can't remember where the money was at whenever he had passed away on January 6th. And there was a pretty good chunk of money in there at the end of December. He did it every day of December. And he had all of us, everyone kind of join him whenever we could and stuff. And he, yeah. And then, but yeah, by the end of it, it was like up to $12,000 or something like that. So he was constantly looking for ways to either bring people together or raise money for people who really needed it. So yeah, pretty amazing.
Hey, continuing to share strength and healing throughout time, and will continue to through his music, through this incredible new song. And of course, you mentioned the East Pointers have a new EP potentially on the way as well. It sounds like the future holds some exciting things. What can you tell us about the future without giving away too much, of course?
Yeah, no, for sure. We have, so an EP is going to come at the end of September. We have our next single coming out in July. And then, yeah. And like, I guess there's also a festival that we started called the Harvest Home Festival that I just hopped off a call actually about that. And that's happening on PEI September 23rd and 24th, where we had it all planned last year and it got canceled right before it happened, which was unfortunate, like many other things. But yeah, we're going ahead with the Harvest Home Festival. That's Jake and I and our management company. We organized that. And yeah, so just lots more new music, which is exciting.
Very exciting. Very exciting indeed. Fans of the band, or even listeners of the podcast, I guess fans of the band probably already are following you. So listeners of the podcast, go out and follow the East Pointers. Go, if you're on Prince Edward Islands, you're in the Maritimes, you want to go ahead and check it out. The festival in September sounds like a fantastic opportunity to go ahead and do that. Of course, you can also go ahead and follow the band on your favorite streaming services. New EP, new singles coming your way. Of course, this a brand new song and an amazing set catalog that you can go ahead and check out right now, right?
Yeah, go to it.
Hey, as they absolutely should. Of course, Tim, I need to thank you so very much for taking the time to join us here on the Desert Tiger podcast today.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.